Rockford's home for Classic Rocks, 96.7 The Eagle. Good morning, I'm Double T. Special guest joining me, actor, comedian, musician, metalhead, Brian Posehn. How you doing today, Brian?
I'm good, man. How are you?
Good. You're like a multi-threat now.
Sure.
You got a new album out called Grandpa Metal. Of course, huge metal fan. When did you find the world of metal and just fell in love with it?
It started with hard rock. You know, Kiss was my first in, and then it was like all the great stuff at the end of the 70s. You know, I was a kid, and as I was getting into harder music, the music was getting harder itself. And, you know, so Iron Maiden was the first, like, full-on metal band that I was obsessed with. And then from there, you know, it was just things were getting heavier. So Metallica was coming out, and I was living in the Bay Area just as they were coming up. So I got into that.
And then when did the world of comedy kind of get into your radar?
Well, I was such a nerdy kid. Like I always had a bunch of different likes, and you know, and I would get obsessed with them. You know, I've always said that nerdiness is just obsession, and so my first obsessions as a kid were, you know, comic books, heavy metal, comedy, and then it was, you know, going to junior college trying to figure out what I'm going to do. You know, I was thinking of being a DJ, thinking of being a journalist, and then just started writing jokes.
You kind of fell in love with it?
Yeah, I did. Well, I mean, I fell in love with it and then realized I could actually do it. You know, I was like one of those kids who was like, I don't know what I'm going to do, what I can do, you know. What am I supposed to do? What are my powers? You know?
Well, yeah, being a nerdy kid, you got to think about your superpower, right?
Yeah, I was like, what is my skill? And then it was like, oh, I can make fun of weird situations, and next thing I knew.
And they'll pay you for it, too.
Yeah, sure.
And it seems in the world today, nerdy is kind of a cool thing.
Oh, absolutely. It wasn't when I was a kid. It was a bad word, but
right.
No, it's been cool for a while, which has been great. You know, and then I but leaned into it, you know.
Right, I'm talking to Brian Posehn. His new album is called Grandpa Metal. And then you do the comedy thing, you do the acting thing, and of course you love metal. But when did you decide, okay, I'm going to make my own metal music?
About 16 years ago, I signed with Relapse to do my first comedy record. And it always made sense to me if I was at a metal label. It's like, well, I might as well do music too. So I just did like one or two songs on my first couple of comedy records. And then it was so fun, and I worked with Scott Ian already on those. It was like there was always the idea of let's do a full record of this down the road that just feels like, you know, something I grew up with.
And, you know, that's got to be pretty cool to be able to talk to some of your favorite metal guys and be able to work with them.
Absolutely, man. It's not lost on me how weird it is that, like, when I decided to make a band, I could get, like, some of my favorite people to be in it, you know. Most people, when they start a band with their friends, it kind of sucks.
I mean, what would 13-year-old Brian be saying to you right now?
Dude, you know, like, you got the guys from Anthrax, you know.
Isn't that funny? Because that's exactly probably how it would be. Dude, that's awesome.
Yeah, for sure.
I'm talking to Brian Posehn. When it comes to writing songs or writing comedy, do you prefer the process of creating it or taking the final product and giving it to the fans?
I like it all, but the nerd in me likes the putting it together part. Just the writing process. The writing process is still really fun for me, and just creating stuff, whatever it is, you know, and that's why I do so many different things. I love writing sketch still, and I love writing my stand-up, but then writing these songs was like a total other fun exercise that, you know, and I love it all. Is
it something that you're doing in your head all the time, writing things, or do you have to sit down and make a special point? Okay, today I'm working on a comedy sketch, and tomorrow I'm going to work on a song. Yeah,
I do both. I mean, my brain, I just let it, you know, go, but then I do also have to sit down and go, okay, this is what, you know, this is the focus.
What else you got coming up this year besides the new album being out?
No matter what I'm working on, I'm out telling my fart jokes into a microphone on the weekends.
You got to have your priority. Those fart jokes is what paid the bills, right?
Yeah, that keeps my kid in clothes and food.
Brian Posehn, thank you so much for taking the time. Have yourself a great day.
Yeah, man. Thanks.
It's Rockford's home for Classic Rock, 96.7 The Eagle.